on the agenda for tonight, 25th of July. Anybody here informally?
I just want to see who drew the short straw and is going to be your representative on the Stockbridge Land Trust.
Oh, I thought Jamie,
I think Jamie said she was.
Yeah,
I mean, I heard her sort of say that, but I just wanted to know if that really was.
she was not going to be here tonight, but I'll confirm it with you.
Apparently
Just
she's
so I can tell, you know, just.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Done to her.
a very unwell human being at the moment.
What she got, never mind. Don't wanna know.
Stomach flu or something evil.
Okay, for the public hearing, 98 Interlaken Road, we went to see the trees there.
We did.
Any comments?
I think they were going to come back and tell us.
They did. They did.
Planted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, do I have it? But yes, they did. Can't remember if I printed it. Yes, I did. I didn't. I don't think I printed it,
There's a chair.
but yes, they did come back to us with a,
But do we know what it was? Was it acceptable?
yes.
Okay.
All right, make a motion, we close the hearing.
Second that.
Yep, it's okay. All in favor? Aye. Mass DOT. Anybody here from Mass DOT?
Not on there today. And what's your name?
Jessica, Jessika, last name Myler, Myler.
Myler.
Yes.
I think this is right across the street from your house.
Oh, good. Nice, I hope they do something.
Mile marker 16.8.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
we've been there, we looked at it,
You did,
yes.
yeah, so we went to that area too, about a month ago. And, I think it was last May that someone from our department brought an issue about standing water in that area and also on the butter's home. So after field investigation, they found out that that is due to a clogged pipe. So in that area over Agawam Brook, there are two 36 inches corrugated pipe, and one of them is fine, but the other one is completely clogged and the water cannot flow at capacity that is designed. And after investigation, it's mostly due to beaver activities, and there are a lot of sticks in that area, and also there's a lot of sediments build up and rocks and whatnot. There's also grading system that was installed, but that is not in a good condition and needs to be replaced as well. So what we're proposing to do is we're planning to excavate 10 to 12 foot of that inlet. So this is the inlet is right here, and this is the outlet. So this is about
You can come see.
10 to 12 foot is gonna be excavated. And we're gonna install a sheet metal plate to cover it, so then there is no water that is going to pass through while we're doing the work. We're gonna clean it up, put a new pipe in, backfill, put gabion basket to establish the embankment. And we're gonna install new grading system as well as beaver fence. So it's 5 foot from the inlet, it's gonna be installed like fence and post. So then if, like the beaver are building sticks, it's just gonna be in that area instead of actually going into the pipe.
Was beaver involved in this plug up?
So in this area, there's a lot of wildlife, and beavers usually they build dams, they bring sticks and then just kind of just collected all of the sticks in that one area.
So that they were the reason that this one individual pipe was not functioning right.
Yes, but also because of,
Little sediment.
yeah, those sediments build up too, but I guess they just kind of prefer that one section because when we went there, the other one is completely fine. So, because they're two side by side, but yeah,
Are they about the same elevation?
they are the same elevation, yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah, so twice as, well, I'm pretty sure we're at the same spot, right across from your house.
This isn't near Lake, is this Lake Agawam?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, that's down on the.
That's
flats.
down on Route 7.
Route 7, yes.
Oh, okay, I'm not in the same spot then.
No,
I'm
we have a
completely-
problem there too, but I don't think it's that.
Okay, so it's, there's already a wire cage around,
So right now,
One of
it's just like a grading, oh, actually, this will be a.
So is there a written, did we get a written RDA? Yeah, we have it.
I think we got a confirmation that it was received. So right now, it's, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a grate right there that is located right in front of the inlet of the pipe. It's kind of hard to see. I wonder if oh, there it is.
I'm on the right road, but it wasn't anywhere
Like
near it.
that. But this is the outlet one. It's similar to that, but on the inlet side.
So this'll, well, I've seen the road get flooded there, but if two pipes will work over the one, then I guess maybe the flooding will be abated.
Yeah, that's,
Though it is a low spot. It won't take much to flood that road. Maybe a foot or two.
really, oh, how was it? I haven't been for the past 2 weeks, but the past 2 weeks, the rain has been crazy. Have you passed by that
I went
area?
by, it wasn't over the road, but
Yeah,
Well-
sometimes it is.
I'd say it's within less than a foot. So maybe, I don't know where it's gonna go though.
That's the thing, it's the same over on, by Heron Pond, the Heron Pond complex. There's not really any elevation change. So
There's not
the
gonna be-
culvert goes under the road, but,
It doesn't flow through the other side. 'cause
oh,
yeah.
because,
It's not gonna be any big water coming through. Well, do what you have to do, I guess. Give it a shot.
Yeah,
So they're just looking for permission, so we'll close the hearing and grant a,
who wants to,
Make a motion to close the hearing?
I'll second
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
okay,
do your best.
thank you.
We'll see you again. I'm sure of it. It's not gonna go away. 5 Wheatley Drive, septic upgrade. Schulman, anyone here?
Excuse me, sorry, it's John Field, on Zoom. I was first on the agenda and I was having a really hard time connecting. We had a really, really bad thunderstorm, so I'm not sure if you've already gone by me.
We did, and
we
you're
did, and
good.
you're all good.
All good. Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah,
Good luck with the thunderstorm.
Thank you.
More tree work tomorrow.
Oh, I think so. It was pretty rough.
Really?
Yeah,
Where?
up hill towns.
Okay,
So,
Okay, good
Thank
luck
you.
with that.
yep, thank you.
Bye-bye.
5 Wheatley Drive, did I hear anybody here?
that's
Sarah.
SK.
Anybody from SK here? We haven't been to that site yet, have we?
Yeah, can we?
Well, do you need anything?
I forgot to ask if we're gonna get the negative determination.
You will get it, we have to sign it, but we won't sign it until our next meeting.
Okay, all right.
And then you're good to start.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
The Wheatley Drive is SK. And I did not see anybody from SK.
Can we schedule a site visit though? I'd like to see it.
Yes. What's the date on Friday?
There's somebody from SK.
My turn already?
Yep,
It is,
Wow, really?
yeah,
Sorry about that.
timing's perfect.
Right on time.
Waiting.
well, see,
All right, put me on the spot now.
yeah,
This is an RDA that we filed for a septic system replacement. Yeah.
Too far away. We can't see that.
Some of the technical stuff. 5 Wheatley Drive. The applicants are Philip and Audrey Schulman. This is Wheatley Drive here.
and you are,
I'm sorry, Bob Horn here with SK.
oh, okay.
Septic system. So this is a failed system. It failed, it was tested several months ago.
What side of the road is that on?
It's on the
Lily
left
Pond,
as you're heading
Pond
south.
side?
The pond, it's on Lily Pond.
yes.
It actually has a view of Lily Pond, although I don't believe the property has frontage on Lily Pond.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah, maybe it does. It's quite a ways away from the house.
We had a hoopah with them many, many years ago because they clear cut down to the lake
Oh,
or down to
for
the,
the view
yeah,
probably.
yeah, because they wanted a nice view.
They have it.
Yep.
It's on a side hill. It's pretty steep. We were lucky that we were able to find soil that's suitable for replacing the septic field. But that location where the existing one was or is decent soils. So we're replacing it in the same location. It's a little bit bigger of a system, based on the Title V regs. It's a 3-bedroom house. The septic tank was already replaced not long ago. I don't remember exactly why, but it's brand new. The field has failed, so we'll be replacing it with a bed that's approximately 20 feet wide and 26 feet long. It is on a slope, like I said, and we're trying to stay away from the existing field, which is kind of hugging the side. So we're gonna have to clear some trees on the downhill side.
What does that mean? How many? And is it in
They
here?
have a no cut zone.
Really? From where?
There should be permanent markers there for a no cut zone. This went to DEP and was a enforcement order. It was a big hairy deal.
Okay. Yeah, the woman has dementia. I know that. Her husband is in his mid-90s. They didn't share a lot of that stuff with us.
They may not know.
Yeah,
Remember.
but there's a wetland. There's a reason I'm here is at the toe of the slope is a wetland system that abuts Lily Pond here. And so we're working in the buffer zone. We're gonna provide, we're trying to limit the amount of fill by designing a 3-foot high retaining wall here on the downhill side.
Do you know what the distance is? Either
Yeah, let me get the scale. What is it? Yeah, it's about 15 feet. I don't know how many trees. It's not real dense
15 feet from what?
from the existing clearing. In other words, there's a cleared area there where the septic system is.
How close to the water?
Yeah, I'm asking the distance to the resource.
Oh, well, here's 100 feet, this yellow line. Here's the resource area. I thought I had a dimension on here. This is 45 feet or so.
So the new dimensions would be 45, it was 60, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yep.
And
So, the vegetation has naturally regrown around the septic system over the years because, it was never really maintained.
but this will be bigger than what's there already? This will be more disturbance in the buffer
A
zone?
little bit, yeah. Well, like I said, we can't replace it in the exact same location because that's where the existing field is.
Yeah.
And, that's what failed. So we're trying to, ideally, we would be 50 feet away from it. in an ideal situation, but
How big is this lot?
it's pretty good size. It is 6 acres altogether.
And this is the only place they could put it?
Yeah, a better place was over here, I think, assuming the soils were okay, but there's a well, this is their well right here. So I have to maintain a 100-foot setback from the well, which eliminated the whole opposite side of the house over here. But none of this is level by any stretch. I mean, this driveway is steep. It goes down to the house. There's a narrow swath, if you would, when they built the house that they carved out of the hillside, and they stuck the septic system here. This was done, I want to say like 25, 30 years ago. So it's just outlived its useful life.
Right. What are the current dimensions of the field and the new dimensions?
We never found any plans of the field.
Okay.
We estimated it. There's a vent here at the end, and there's a septic tank here. So we know it's somewhere in between.
Yep.
There must be,
They're still living there, so we couldn't really get in and dig it up and disturb it. It needs to function until it's replaced, kind of a thing.
they must have had to apply for the septic system.
Yeah, so it should
So there
be
must be
required.
plans,
Someone has plans.
especially if it was 25 years ago.
Right, Tom?
Yeah. I'm not sure if anyone researched that. I don't know how their records were 25 years ago.
Well, I was on the Conservation Commission 25 years ago, so was Joe. So we have those records somewhere.
Yeah, so you think they went to you
They would have had to. They
to be able to build a house and a field?
they would have had to do the septic, I would think.
Out of curiosity,
Why did it fail?
well, that's what I'm gonna say, with your plans, how much soil or what do you bring in to make it? So it's gonna be partially on the current field and partially off the current field?
Yeah.
What you're suggesting?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how does that work? I'm just curious how much
I have
soil you bring in.
Yeah, I have a cross section here that I can give you a better sense of that. So I don't know if I didn't color this or anything, but here's the existing ground represented by this dashed line. We also have a fairly shallow groundwater here at only 25 inches. So we need to maintain a certain separation to the groundwater, which brings the field up. We asked for not a variance, but a local upgrade allows you to reduce it from 4 feet to 3 feet. But it still is, to have this be able to last long and built properly, we need to raise it up a little bit. We also are using this technology. It's an Elgin system, which allows you to step the trenches down the hill as opposed to many systems are being built like a level bed, if you would, with the Coltech chambers. This is technology that doesn't need to be exactly level. We can't step it completely downhill because it's a really steep hill, but we are able to step it. And we've got to bring in 2 or 3 feet of Title V sand and then fill over the top of the field. So we're going to go out about 15 feet beyond or downhill of the last trench. Otherwise, you jeopardize the sewer leaking out of the
Beyond the top of the grass, won't it?
Yeah,
Is there gonna be a liner on that one, Bob?
there is a liner. Yep, there's a liner on the downhill side. Yep, absolutely.
So I'd like to do a site visit, and can you, for the site visit, mark the trees that are coming down and tell us
Sure.
with what you will replace them?
Well, I don't want to replace them because these aren't good for septic.
But even if you don't replace them there, somewhere on the property?
Over near the other side.
Taking trees down,
Yeah, okay. If that's,
The old field, maybe.
maybe on the old field, but yeah, I'd like to see what's
Okay.
coming down and what's going in.
all right, well, I got to think about that, I guess. I didn't really study the rest of the property to see if
If there's 6 acres, they can
Patrick,
Yeah.
find room for a tree.
Yeah, sure.
somewhere. And also, can you, when we come out, tell us the square footage of the disturbance?
Sure.
I don't see that in the IDA.
Yeah, we also have a property line setback that we have to respect over here.
Yep.
It appears that the other one is like really close. I mean, we didn't dig it up to see if it meets the setback, but it's pushing the limits.
Just one long trench, it sounds like.
It might be. It might be. But, you know, I don't really want to delay this too much. I mean, they're living, basically, their septic system is their tank right now.
They're pumping it each time.
Yeah, I mean, there's only two of them living there full-time. And maybe guests, family or whatever. So at some point, they're gonna be spending a lot of money pumping the septic tank until we get this thing approved and.
So what's happening now? Is it gurgling up? Is it not flushing? Is it
Well,
water or what's going on?
It's a new tank, so there's 1,500 gallons. I don't know how long it takes to fill 1,500 gallons, depends how much water you use, you know, but.
Pretty quick, you have to pump it.
Yeah, probably if you don't conserve properly. But it is still tied into the existing system, so.
So there's some use.
Yeah, but with all this rain that we've had lately, I'd be surprised if it's really being effective. I didn't see it running out of the ground when I was out there, but I was also out there in early June, so.
You might find that now.
Patrick?
Yeah. Hand in.
I'm sorry, what's your name again, sir?
Bob Fournier.
Hey, Bob. I'm gonna say this as nicely as possible. The applicant's a dear friend of mine. I do not believe she has dementia. She was a dear friend of my father's. She makes me dinner once a year. Even if she did, I think it's not really appropriate to talk about applicant's private health history in public session. And I just think I don't know, we probably didn't mean anything by it, but let's just remember these are, people. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So how does this work? If we go out and we do a site visit and we agree at the site, are we able to give them the okay to move forward then, or we have to wait till next time we get together?
No,
Okay.
I mean, we have to do the paperwork. We have to
I'm just-
vote.
Understand.
We can't approve anything on the site. plan.
Okay.
We have to
Gotta be in public.
we have to vote to approve.
So when we get there, and we'll decide that in a few minutes, I'd like to have the old field staked out as close as you can come, the new field staked out, and any trees that you propose to take down marked. Anything else?
Where the replanting of the trees will be.
Yeah, we're open to suggestions.
Yeah, we
When
can
we're out
look,
there,
we can look when we're out
if you want to
there.
tell us, I'm sure that they'll.
Are
Okay.
you gonna be there when they open it up?
When they install it,
Yeah,
usually we're only required to inspect it just before they backfill it.
it would be nice to know why it failed, how that area, how those soils behaved. And just what the reason might be.
If that was built 25 years ago, they're probably right in that water. You said,
True, that's a good point, yeah.
And if-
They didn't respect the groundwater table probably when it was built, and it's too deep in the ground, so,
And if it's one long system, if it plugs up in the beginning, then the whole field is shot.
yeah, there's a number of reasons for this. I believe I had a conversation with her about how frequently she pumped out the septic tank, but that's important to do every couple of years, and I don't even think she knew there was a septic tank here. I doubt if it was ever pumped out.
So you get that skim on the top, which,
Yeah, I mean, eventually the solids
not pretty.
go through and flood the field. That's pretty.
sorry, Patrick.
I've got one too.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's downhill.
So
It's very steep,
would it be
very
possible,
steep.
would it be possible for us to, can we condition this, just if you could let us know as best you can why it failed?
I want to see it. I don't have conditions.
Just
The only thing I can do, I can ask
the installer?
friend with the fellow that put the septic tank in. He was called to do that part of the repair. And then he hired us to do the perk test and design. So he may know, but But he's really an installer. I don't know that anybody ever really studied. I don't think you could.
He didn't dig down and open up one end to see what
He may have,
was there.
he may have.
It's all black.
Didn't they put in a pool not too long ago?
I don't know, what usually fails these systems when these guys go out and do the inspections is you open up the D box, distribution box that leads to the field, and if it's backed up with water, they just leave it alone at that, you know, there's no reason to check any further, it's failed and it needs to be fixed. They don't usually spend the time and effort to then try to find out why. But high groundwater is
Would have.
common.
You pretty much explained it right there. If it's an old system and the water table is less than 2 feet down from the surface.
Yeah, 24, 25 inches, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't built up. It's the ground's level there.
Yeah, it's got it carved into the slope. I mean, it's built up a little on the downhill side and it's excavated on the uphill side to create this level area. But some of it is in the slope and some of it's.
Okay. Days of the week. Fridays?
Can go Thursday or Friday.
I'm gonna be away.
Thursday?
1 second.
Can't do Thursday because we can't advertise. We
No,
can't post.
don't have time to get it. Friday?
Friday morning
I think so.
or early afternoon?
No, let's do morning. If we can get more, 3 people or
I'll
something.
go,
All right.
I'm fine.
So 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
This Friday?
I really want to see this because there are supposed to be permanent markers there.
When can you go?
Can't go this week.
And the people are there now?
Yeah, I have her number. I can notify her.
Okay, yeah, give us the number before you leave.
Oh, I can meet you there. Figured that would,
Yeah, for Friday.
yeah.
So
This side.
Sally, can you do a second visit?
What time Friday?
10
o'clock?
a.m. Is there parking? Can we drive down the driveway or is it?
For a few cars. I'm trying to think,
I won't bring the truck then.
pretty narrow road, you can park on the side of the road.
All right.
There's a superseding order of conditions issued to the Shulman by the DEP in 2001,
Do you have a file number, DEP file number?
not here.
And so the permanent markers
There should be
to stay
permanent
up.
markers indicating where the no-cut zone is. As I recall.
Okay.
But it was for Schulman?
Mhm.
I might be able to look that up.
What year again?
2001.
Thank you.
Okay, for all those that can make it,
So site visit.
5 Wheatley Drive, 10 a.m. Friday, this Friday.
Yeah.
And you'll have stakes, flags, and
Yeah,
you can do that by then.
as best as we can.
Thank you.
Now, this may or may not be rain or shine, depending on the amount of rain we get on that time.
It will be hot.
Will it?
It's supposed to be.
Oh, the
wet.
mosquitoes will carry us off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much all wooded up there.
Okay, good to
Bug
know.
spray is needed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
see you Friday at 10.
Thank you.
Any other public hearing?
Request for extension?
Request for extension, yeah, from, for the Jones Beach, which is the one that's just south of the causeway.
Oh,
Okay.
that's the big blue and brown home.
That's the one.
What do we,
They just want an extension because they haven't finished the project yet. So,
we got some trees to put out.
yeah, they've got other stuff too, I think.
Notice of intent is. So that's. What jurisdiction? Nothing?
I don't have the order of conditions on the computer, but I have it downstairs. I've got a stack.
Thank you.
I got a file this thick on that. Downstairs.
So when we just, yeah.
So what are we doing?
Do we have anything
Saying
to
that
sign?
we have a huge file on that project. Yeah.
Is that a previous owner?
No,
No.
same owner. Who must have been on then?
Sorry?
Who must have been on then?
Think so. It's,
Had Tim McKenna, we went down and we pottered around their property with Tim McKenna and God only knows who else.
was Bob Tublet's,
Yeah, probably.
okay, because I used to do all the site visits with him.
He was the chair at the time. And McKenna and forget who else. The DEP was crawling all over the place. So this was a big deal.
So when we're doing,
The director down there, whoever that was, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Wasn't it the director of that office?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Tim, there was somebody else.
It never would get built today. That driveway's on like a 25-degree slope.
Yeah, the whole property is a 25-degree slope. It's not, I don't know how this can function, but hopefully they'll figure it out. So we have site visit?
for this?
No. Oh, yes, for Friday.
No, but for 37 Mackinac is a site visit?
Well, we could, but we don't really need to do a site visit for an extension unless we want
No,
to.
no, I was asking,
Yeah,
They went 5 Wheatley.
we just,
I read
we
it, yeah.
just need to decide whether we should issue the extension. We've never not issued an extension.
How long, for how
So we
long?
need to vote on.
Yeah.
Like a motion,
So it's typically for 3 years.
Okay.
But we don't have to do 3 years. We can do less if we want, but it's typically for 3 years.
give them the 3 years, they don't have to come back if it's,
Fine.
or what's the address on that here?
37 Mackinac Road.
I make a
Need a
motion.
motion. Thank
Make
you,
a
Lisa.
motion for an extension on 37 Mackinac Road for 3 years for the order of conditions.
Second.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Okay. They got 3 more years to finish it. Good luck.
So how old is that? Has that been in place for a year now?
The
37 Mackinac.
Mac,
Two?
couple years probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just wondering how long they last.
Well, yeah, it's
3, okay, so it's been in place 3 years then.
That's Jones
Had to extend.
Beach. We've had our issues with them too. They've had a couple enforcement orders, I think. But not with this current owner. It was with her parents, I believe.
okay. Did the performance standards get,
Bill has had surgery or something today.
Surprised that
Here.
Seward. You know, you've got Wheatley,
did he happen to say,
you know,
No.
in terms of
Michael.
sewers and, you know,
really?
I don't, did
what's that?
sewers down there?
He said he sent, I talked to you
So it was
like on a Wednesday or
2000,
Thursday.
I'm sorry, I'm listening.
He'd supposedly sent it to him the previous Wednesday, so.
Okay, so I'm surprised because it's surgery.
Sewer?
No. I was thinking, no.
Just
So,
be,
it was 2021, they received an amended order of conditions for that property.
for the
So it's 3 years.
37 Mackinac. Okay. So Bill maybe received the,
Yeah, I don't know. Jamie wasn't feeling good though. I don't know if he got to it.
okay, do you want me to follow up?
You want to? Yeah. I'll give him a day or so.
You do want to? So I'm going to actually tie this, can I tie this to climate change? Can I jump the agenda?
Sure.
Because first of all, on the MAC website, under resources, there's really good information about climate change for conservation commissions. that I would encourage everybody to look at. Almost everything we talked about tonight, we're talking about flooding and everything that's going on around here. It's all related to climate change,
They've been doing seminars on climate change for
and they're good.
all the time that I've been on the
And they're
commission.
good, but I'm saying
With
it's, I would
maps
encourage
of-
people to really look at it.
How Boston and Miami and New York
Yeah.
Be underwater.
are going to be underwater. Yeah.
And parts of Berkshire County. So we have these performance standards that we've been working on for 2.5 years. And there's added protection in these performance standards for buffer zones. So we really need to get them
Enforce.
finalized, use them. It's happening around us now, and we need every tool we can get in our toolbox to help with it. Yeah.
And just to point out, all documents on the MEC website, because they're government documents, are not copyrighted. And with the new website, you can post any documents you want to the Conservation Commission page. So if you see one and you're reading it and you like it, you should save it and get it to Terry or Teresa to
Okay.
ask them to post it.
Okay.
Along those lines, there's a guy named Dave Johnson, who is the chair of the Beckett Conservation Commission, and they spent the last year posting 20 years of Conservation Commission files. And that may be ambitious, but we do have many new members, maybe it's a project you want. And
What do you mean?
I think they use the same platform we do to basically, they've created an archive, a searchable archive.
So people can see.
Yeah, but at the very least, we've got about $500,000 in lake studies and other studies that we, commissioned over the last 30 or 40 years. And it'd be great if we just could pick the top 10 or 20. Like my favorite's the Lycott study, and just get it
on the
them, just they can scan them right on the copier, creates a PDF, and boom, you post them on the website.
So I think it's good to get it on the website, but I also think as a commission, we need to do more to protect the buffer zones, which we can do once we have the performance standards. We
Yeah.
have our bylaw too, but the buffer zones are what right now is protecting the resource areas, and they're flooding.
Well, I've been advocating for as long as I can remember, until I drive everybody absolutely bananas, that if we don't change, we need to change zoning. I've been saying this for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
That we need to change the zoning so that the buffer zone is no longer just a buffer zone, because pretty soon the buffer zone is going to be the resource area. And I've been saying that for 25 years.
It's true.
Because it's, you start building in low-lying areas like Beechwood and places like that, and all the ones that are along the south side of the Housatonic. If they put in new septic systems and the septic systems aren't designed to be high enough above the water table,
Yep.
then they're going to be underground and they're all going to fail, and they're going to contaminate the resource areas, and
All of the above.
we are in deep
Yes.
septic outflow.
We're there.
It's called black water.
So many projects that
Well, I had another word in mind, but I decided not to say that.
But so many projects that come before us, who's ever presenting says this is just buffer zone.
Yeah.
And it's not just buffer zone.
No, it's
Really
not.
important. It's really important to protect
site
it.
visit we have
And it's really
Friday.
important that we get as many trees replanted when they take down trees, because that's helping too to absorb all this water.
So what specifically would you change about the bylaws?
Well, no, what I'm advocating for is that,
What we've been protecting for years, which is the 50-foot buffer zone, should be a no-build, period. No questions, no anything.
Great.
And so the buffer zone that we need to protect is from 50 to 100 now, not from 1 to 50. Because it's going to come back to bite us in the next 20 years. We're all going to be dead, but so it's going to come back to bite somebody.
So how would that have affected this evening's
they need to put,
septic?
they would need,
Whereas they want to go 15 feet into it now, right?
no, they said 45 feet from the resources.
Right now.
Which is Lily Pond, and it's a very, very steep property. It's really steep. And so if it fails, or if something goes sideways on this septic thing, it's going to go right in Lily Pond.
Downhill.
Yeah, and that's it was also important that they had that liner to protect the groundwater, which is feeding Lily Pond.
Yeah.
I'm sure the present one didn't have a liner. No one that's failed.
And then it's curved up at the end so that it's contained. On that subject, I think that, we really have a bigger problem. We now have stormwater, right? And I think the standard for stormwater, you can correct me here, I think is you have to design for a 25-year storm. And down the road, they just got a 1,000-year storm.
We're seeing 500-year storms. Yeah.
In Connecticut, I think they said it was 1,000-year storm.
1,000-year storm, that's what they said.
Yeah, so it seems like that's an issue too.
I mean, Route 7, just what we were just talking about with the Mass DOT. That's been flooding for as long as I can remember, in the spring at least. And if we have a whopping summer, with what Shep Evans used to call a toad choker.
Gully washer.
Yeah, like toad choker. I couldn't function for the whole rest of the meeting after that, if it's flat, which that is, you go into Clark Pond and it goes onto Clark Road, and Clark Road is underwater, and Route 7 is underwater, and Agawam Lake is now everywhere. Remember that property we just looked at, which was at 14, is it 14 South Street? I forget now what it was. It's on the other side where they had done some clear cutting. And they weren't supposed to, and it was bordering up against Agawam Lake. And now with the Swan property being taken over by the Muncie Indians, that's a bordering property as well. I mean, all these things.
So doesn't our bylaw already say we can go up to 100 feet in the buffer zone? Protect?
Yeah.
So we don't need a zoning, it's already in the bylaw.
Yeah, but the zoning, when they approve certain things under zoning,
Yeah.
it should be clear that this is an important.
And the hold up to put sewers throughout the whole town is that we have to repair what we currently have, right? The capacity we have.
Finish the I&I,
As soon as they finish what's,
the infiltration and whatever the other thing is. What is it?
We got that covered.
It's done?
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
we finished the study and they're fixing it now.
Yeah. So part of what's been filling up the septic system, the town system, has been, there's been infiltration into the pipes, that their pipes.
The old clay pipes.
Pipes are broken and whatever. So
The Red Lion Inn's a big contributor.
groundwater
Downpipes.
is filling up the capacity.
But there's still plenty of capacity, right? We still have capacity to sewer the whole town. It's just pulling that trigger and making it happen and prioritizing it.
That's, the sewering is debatable too, though. I mean.
Political.
Just moving the problem to another part of town.
It's a really good idea, but in other places, if you're taking water from one end of town and moving it to the other end of town, you have no groundwater recharge.
But aside from zoning, our bylaw does say we can protect within 100 feet of a resource area, and I think we need to start moving that and protecting more. We've protected things we've allowed things within 10 feet, which is just not good. I think, we're losing all that pervious surface, more runoff. So I think we need to use our bylaw more than we do.
And we're making a definite effort to tighten this all up.
Just a comment on the sewer. I think as we're talking about the lake, read that 1991 Lycott study where they talk about the things that feed cyanobacteria and things that feed whether it's milfoil or any other, plant in the bowl is phosphorus. And it's, and they said that the number one way you can get rid of it is by expanding the sewer. And that becomes especially important where we didn't have any ice on the lake this year. That's usually 10 feet of an ice cube that keeps it cool till almost June. And the lake is a lot warmer this year, and cyanobacteria likes warm water and it likes the churning from bad storms. And you want to blow up the town from a point of view of not only just the environmental impacts of, of what cyanobacteria does to the wildlife, you want to look at the economic impacts of the tax base around that town, around that lake, and you want to look at the recreational impacts. That's like the most important lake in the county. Everybody says, like, not just in Stockbridge, and you take those three things together and figuring out the sewer system. You got BCD that's on sewer, you got Kopalu that has a giant field right next to the wetland. You got.
But that has a short lifespan. That's coming
right.
up.
You got White Pines that's on the sewer, and you got the camp, which is desperate for us to expand the sewer system. You got Dan Pica's putting up that, that wall. And I talked to him last week and he was like, please expand the sewer. I'm 2 years from being done. I will absolutely take the money and put into this and put it into the sewer. So I just feel like we should, everything has trade-offs, but man, we got 10 or 20 years before climate change could really impact that lake around cyanobacteria.
And there's more and more vegetated areas adjacent to the lake that are being lost. So when there's vegetation there, it absorbs a lot of that bacteria, and nitrogen and everything else. And people mow to the lake.
It's almost like you should draw a quarter-mile perimeter around the lake and tie everybody into that.
Everybody in. That's right.
No, I don't object to that because the downside of not having sewer around the lake and in places where it's really environmentally sensitive is important. But also we need to remember that the groundwater recharge is really important. So septics as well, except if I take water out of my house, which is way up Rattlesnake Mountain Road, and I pump all the water that I use from my well
To the other side of town?
to the other side of town, there's no water going back into the area where I live. And
Dries out the soil?
that has consequences.
It changes the ecology
It does.
somewhat.
But all the light water flows down to the lake, it's surrounded by mountains. So I think for specifically the lake, like you said, a quarter mile, whatever it is, I don't think it's any, I mean, all summer long, even though we put in the swale, the White Pines Beach has been wet for the last month because all the rain we got. The water table is so high right now.
Dock was 6 inches underwater last week.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any activity around Interlaken for sewers?
We're funding right now that phase 4, which includes the sewer master plan, and, weigh in because that's going to be the 20-year plan. And I hope they prioritize, it's an elected board, so all we can do is let them know our thoughts, but I hope they prioritize the lake. I think it's the most important thing, and it's, I got to do the budget and the economic impact of, let's face it, even if it's a $3 million house, the person who perhaps owns that house isn't worried about the money, they're worried about the quality of life. And lakes across the country, as cyanobacteria breaks out all summer long, you've had people abandon their property and sell it at a loss and go someplace where that isn't happening. And it's the thing that threatens this town. There's not many things that actually threaten. This town is very blessed. This is one of those things that actually we got to make sure doesn't happen.
So,
Yep.
Any other discussion?
so I will reach out to Bill and see where things are at with the hope that next meeting we can finalize our, we need to do.
So the other thing we have to talk about is the enforcement order for the railroad, which they called me from the Edge about writing an article, which apparently our Mr. friend Rodriguez has.
Is that on the agenda? I would not talk about it. It is?
On the agenda.
Wow.
Okay.
but
It says
I would like,
Housatonic Railroad Enforcement
I
Order.
saw that, I know they're back.
if we have a discussion with their council, I would like the town council to be present.
We have a fabulous letter from
Fire
our
chief.
fire chief discussing the hazards of having these stockpiles of creosote laden ties. The attorney is saying, well, the Housatonic Railroad doesn't own it anymore, so they don't have to do anything.
When did the state take that over? Do we have a guesstimate of when they
No
took
idea.
it? 2 years?
Well, I think it's a clawback amount of time.
These railroad ties have been there for
Oh, yes.
15, 20 years.
The argument was they removed all the ties in the last 2 years that they replaced. But all of these are these are the old piles before that. This is the time before they replaced.
Yeah, so how do they not
Does the
have any
state know?
responsibility for that?
They took over 30 years worth of railroad ties when they purchased this property from them. They're passing the buck. I mean, they say, we don't own it anymore, so it's not us.
So
But it's still a violation. I don't care who owns it. It's still a violation.
did you see Dave's email on what he would need? Did you see it?
Yeah, he sent it out
He sent it out.
today, asking us to compare
First of
where
all,
the piles are compared to the buffer zones and so on. That's why I was kind of asking you those questions. I think what I really need to do is to go walk all the tracks again and do some measurements. Because I took the pictures, but I didn't measure how close it was to
But a lot of that is lost in the other undergrowth again now, right?
It is, but I can still, so I was asking Sally if the waterways along the edge of the tracks, if that's considered a resource zone, because, the water, runs along there, even though it's a man-made
buffer zone.
buffer trench along the side. And the culverts, do you measure from the culverts running under also? Does that, is that,
I would say yes.
okay.
Because the culverts were there because they know there's water coming out
Right.
of there. So if it's a wet summer, it's running all the time. If it's a dry summer,
Right, and some of the logs were near what they referred to as the pool, what's the pool that comes once a year of water?
Vernal pool.
Vernal pool, yep, excuse me.
Really?
They're a vernal and an autumnal.
And
Vernal is the one that's the most.
all along the tracks on both sides, it's very wet. I mean, you got the river on one side, it's very wet on the other side. And I think I should just walk the tracks and make the measurements in the next 2 weeks, right?
know anybody with a little scooter? No.
Get the Blazing Saddles hand truck.
Great exercise.
Especially when there's someone coming down the.
Yeah, and then you gotta move fast.
Is that the road rudder? Looks like.
Is there
They can't get
private
under the bridge
property
at Holmes
issues
Road,
with
can
this?
they? I don't think the train's been running because I don't think they can get past Holmes Road.
Oh, yeah.
So
Why?
what he says
The
is,
bridge is out. They're working on it.
he says, can someone mark up the site plan that was submitted with the recent railroad RDA to show where these photos were taken in relation to the wetlands? So that's what we're talking about. He said he could do it himself if someone could send him the RDA files. So he may be able to do it from your picture.
I think we need David on this one. We do.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, look at his
Yeah.
email because he's saying what he needs.
Yeah.
for the,
And that just came today and I responded back. I said.
No, but I mean, I think it would be good for him to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that we now have the letter from the fire chief.
And there was some pertinent, I don't know where the rest of it went, but
Oh, here, I got it.
this had all to do with railroad ties and fires and that sort of stuff.
But there's
Sorry, yes.
things he would like that you may have in your record.
You got this, but you just.
And the attorney is saying that, gosh, it's not their problem.
Yeah, they sent the note to the state for us.
Why are you considering an enforcement order when we had an agreement? Well, we had an agreement a month ago and he was supposed to get in touch with us, which he did not do.
But does his
Yeah.
letter say he did?
Yeah, it says I sent this letter it says he sent you and I an email on the 14th. I don't recall ever seeing such a thing.
And there was something. I've got it right here. We did not own the property and we did not put the ties there.
It's news.
Yes, they did.
Now, if somehow they're able to spray this year, next year, the same thing happens again, right? This is not, is there a 5-year?
No,
They come every year.
come back
Every year?
and they want to spray some more and we should vote to do away with the spraying too.
Well, we did get the thing on the 14th with saying that he was going to get in touch with them, but we haven't heard anything since then.
But he didn't CC us on any email to him, did they? To the state?
He sent it to you and me and Tom Lewis. But it just says, in accordance with the motion that was passed last night, this email confirms that I will contact Mass DOT about old material that was within the structure line right away. I will be speaking with DOT over the next several business days, but that was the 14th. And that was, you know,
And we didn't hear anything.
we didn't hear anything, so,
Was there a correction that had to be made?
yes, and that was done. Didn't like the way I did the,
Come with,
Mark Stinson didn't like the way I did
exactly what it is.
terminate.
Yeah, but, for example,
Not on this, that was on something.
yes.
It was on the Housatonic Railroad thing, the right away.
So how long have those railroad ties been there?
Forever.
So that was
Multiple.
one of Dave's
That
questions.
pile there.
You know, he said, do you know how, do you have documentation when you
Yeah.
asked previously?
I know
Every year, they come in and ask about
And
the,
then they only, yeah,
it was at least 12 or 13 years ago that
you know, as they dig.
they went off the fire department now.
So who was
7 or 8
supposed to
years.
pick them up?
That
No one until we started
Maybe
listening
what
to
they're
it.
doing is,
brakes or wheels or something on the train with sparks out.
you know.
All the way from Housatonic, all the way up to Lennox before they finally stopped them.
This is about,
And we had,
and then incidentally,
Glendale had
it's
to
crazy.
hike down the tracks, put out piles of creosote ties. And that's a long thing. And they don't, you can't put them out with a pail of water. I mean,
That's
you gotta
what-
drag hose and stuff.
that's what Vincent said. It says not only is it
Yeah, once they get going.
dangerous, but it's additional personnel and everything else to try and, because the tracks aren't necessarily near a road.
Remember the discussion we had about cancer in dogs and stuff along the river? Well, you got creosote laden ties on that same stretch. Plus the Roundup or whatever it is they spray
Glyphosate,
along
yeah.
this same stretch.
With the PCB.
So
And the
it's-
PCBs.
PCB.
Yeah, besides the river, we got the creosote and,
It's a toxic soup. To say nothing of whatever people are putting on their lawns that they're not supposed to.
And these pictures in June, the first week of June, don't come close to what I saw in mid-May because the vegetation just came in so strong. So this is a multi-year event. It's not, I don't think anything that we can say, here's the piles in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, they clean these up. I think next spring,
we
we'll
have
see
to-
so much more.
look in the fall after all the leaves are down.
Or the spring, yep,
or the spring
yep,
Before they come out.
correct.
And then,
Yeah, so whatever we agree to, or when we agree to, here's the game plan, because we have to start moving forward somehow, right?
yeah,
So if they agree that the piles that we see, that they're gonna remove the piles, that we have to agree that we're gonna go back and review it every year for, until it's done. And a lot of them,
Right.
like the ones right next to the river, I mean, it's like they just threw them all underneath and they put all the stone there. It's amazing how many were sticking out
And
down below in the banks.
they half buried what was already there, yeah.
Yeah.
I would also suggest you contact surrounding towns. I mean, it's not like they stopped at the Stockbridge border.
Do we have any idea how long they've been there?
Were they? Not when I was.
All we know-
Did they pick them up?
Is that they replaced all of the rotting
They have
ones
issues with,
over the last 2 years, and all the ones that they replaced were
Oh,
removed.
definitely.
So these
Right.
were the time before, or the time before that they serviced.
so let's continue
Some of them are-
the railroad, see if we can get somebody in person here.
There's a grant right now, I literally just got the email, it might second account. It is it's a US DOT funding grant up to $360,000 for rural and tribal assistance. Closed August 14th. Rather than arguing with Mass DOT about who should clean it up, maybe someone should apply for a $360,000 grant to like clean it up, you know?
It probably would be cheaper for them to just go clean it up than to get into some legal type thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And all that infrastructure money, I'll forward it to you.
I'll see Michael this week and see if we get that info, where to apply to.
By August 14th?
By 14th? Oh,
Is that what
geez.
you said, by August 14th, Patrick?
August 14th for that one. There's also one wildlife crossings pilot program. How great would that be for the salamanders over by Norman Rockwell? Also, there's a golf bit.
We could get signs, salamander crossing. I think we should have, I think there should be an underground culvert for them.
So they do with the Panthers in Florida.
With the what?
The Panthers in Florida, they have underground, under 95 and such. And then out west, they also have them with the black bear and the moose and everything going over.
They have it all.
Overpasses.
Yeah.
All the way to all over Canada, they have wildlife passages. Speaking of wildlife passages, there is the fence at White Pines. We've never talked about.
The fence at White Pines.
There's a fence down at,
Oh, the one down by the canoes?
right on the shoreline, right near the shoreline. It shouldn't be there.
Canoe storage area there.
It's right across the whole
Yep.
beach,
What is it? Which one's White Pines?
just north of the causeway.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So I
Black fence.
suggest we notify the White Pines Association, is that who they are, and ask them to come
Yeah.
talk to us.
Who did, did anybody else, we got a letter from a citizen to the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee, saying that what a terrible place the town beach was and
It needs a
how,
fence.
I'm sorry?
It needs a fence.
What kind of fence?
Well,
What, to keep the geese out?
Yeah.
what I didn't know was that Mike Buffoni and a couple of the guys from the highway department go down there at 5 o'clock in the morning, every single morning, and clean the beach.
They do the sand, and I think that we just expanded it to cover some of the grass, because the grass has been, you know, in tough shape. Right?
So it's not
I think
like-
that they're doing more hours now that we had 2 openings at highway that we filled, and those guys are doing a great job, don't get me wrong. So, you know, but, you know, it's a lot of labor. I mean, look, you guys gotta do something about recreation, so. But the fences really help keep the geese poop off the grass.
Which is fine, but it depends on the gate. I mean, it depends on the fence. And if the fence goes all the way down to the ground, then it's prohibiting wildlife passage. If it has, 6 inches or so, the geese aren't gonna go under it.
The hoops,
Babies might, but
croquet hoops.
the grown-ups won't. And, you just need a wildlife friendly fence if you're gonna put one up. But,
Dog.
I suggested to the person who complained that maybe she'd like to volunteer and come down and help.
How'd that go?
Funnily enough, I did not hear back from her.
Funny, I did.
Oh, did you?
Small world.
After I said that?
I read all of that.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And she responded
Yeah.
after I told her she should volunteer?
Yes.
Okay.
So did you volunteer?
Sorry.
So I don't know that highway was ramping up and he was gonna break the grass, because Michael, I had a plan for that. I didn't commit without talking to Michael, so it was resolved. She was happy.
No, I thought those fake dogs worked well with the geese. I mean, that's what
They have a-
Tony was telling me.
One looks like a coyote and they have,
Pellets. This coyote urine pellets, they've been using in West Stockbridge, it worked pretty well. And we just ordered some of that. In fact, I think they put it out last
Why?
week.
geese don't have a sense of smell.
I don't know.
They
There's a
don't.
West Stockbridge, one of the West Stockbridge highways that they were working for.
Only,
theirs.
only birds have a sense of smell are vultures.
Didn't they,
Honestly.
didn't somebody tell me that
It's just
there's,
marketing.
Mike Buffoni said that there's some grape flavored something or grape.
Yes, it's like grape Kool-Aid
On the grass, they
Which-
don't eat the grass,
which-
but
that they hate,
He said it's been very effective at keeping them away
right?
because they don't like the taste of the grape.
cheap red wine.
About 6 weeks ago, in a 10-day period, I saw 3 different red fox walking with a big dead goose.
Really?
Yeah, and the goose was twice the size of the fox.
Whoa.
So,
So you want to put fox on the beach?
yes, we had to have a fox breeding program.
There may be,
Just to have one down Monument Mountain School.
We can send our shepherds down there.
They do that in airports.
Kay would be happy to chase the geese.
The worst place I went with Moose down to the Capella Beach. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
The water was mucky, green mucky. The grass, you couldn't walk without stepping on you know what? And there were at least 40 baby geese down there. Which is next year's, and they're all being taught where to go to feed. I told Moose, I said, plant a hedge of bushes across here. What they wanted to do was replace the sand, and I said, nah, that's not gonna do it.
I was asking Mike and Mark when we were doing the water testing about those white swans you see everybody using.
Yeah, they all work.
Yeah, he told me that one of the lakes they go to, that actually the swans swim with the geese. I said, all right, I guess we'll cancel that order, honey.
Well, it's like anything else. You just leave it there in one spot long enough and it becomes a nothing, you know?
Well, have you actually like interacted with Canada geese? Because the reason they are so successful is because they are such extraordinarily good parents. We have had them at our pond for the last 40 years. When they first started coming, when Jessie was a baby. And the two parents are watching the babies all the time. One is eating and one is watching. And then they switch off and the other one is eating and the other one is watching. And so all the babies grow up nice and strong and we end up with where we're at now, which is just overpopulation. And they were protected for a long time.
Remember that fence they had down by the beach for a little while, that like little low fence? And so when Julie Evans was on Parks and Rec, she had me going down with my dog just at 6 a.m. because I didn't walk her anyway, and bring her to the public beach. I was on the select board. I wasn't getting special treatment. I was actually asked to do to scare them away. So we go down once, and there's some that got around that fence, and so the dog goes out, and they freak out, and luckily the other dogs don't attack them. And I actually had to pick up every one of them and put them over the fence. It was actually really fun.
The Crapella Beach, you could get within 4 feet of the geese. They wouldn't even move.
Yeah.
I said, somebody's got to be feeding them. There's
Yeah.
no other reason that these geese would be that
Of course they're feeding them.
domesticated.
Of course they feed them. Just like they feed the bears.
And I got
That's not too bright.
I bet it's ancient grains though.
Could be, could be.
Okay. We could go on like this all night, but
okay, I'll make a motion then.
please,
We adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Any opposed? Everybody want to stay here longer?